Hey good people, today we are going to talk about random number and how to generate them and use them in our project. Usually we will want to assign it to some variable. So let's say we want to generate integer random number. We will just create some variable, let's say rand equals, and now we need to call a special method which will let us to generate this number. It is inside the random class, and now as you can see we've got two random classes. One is C# system class and the other one is Unity Engine class, and we want to use Unity Engine class. So now I will just press tab and we will call the special method which is range. We've got another method which is random range, but as you can see it's deprecated, which means we don't want to use it anymore because this is old and not good. So let's move to the range and press tab. Now open parentheses, and as you can see here on the left, we've got some extra tips on how we should fill in this method. We need to provide minimum value, which is inclusive, and maximum value, which might be inclusive as well, but only if we used float values. Now we can press this arrow down to see other so-called function overloads. It means that one function can have many implementations because it takes different arguments. In this overload, we can type in minimum value as integer and it will be inclusive, and maximum value as integer as well, but it's going to be exclusive. And what that means? Let's type the minimum value. So this is the minimum range of our number that will be generated. So let's say we want to generate number from 1 to 10. So we will type 1 because this is inclusive. It means that 1 can be selected. Now we need to provide the maximum value, and we want 10 to be the biggest number that can be generated. But if we type 10, we will never get it because it says that maximum value is exclusive. It means that it will never be selected. That's why when we use integer numbers, we need to increase this maximum value by 1. So instead of typing 10, we need to type 11. And now, thanks to that, we can generate a random number between 1 and 10. And let's say that once it's generated, we want to debug it in the console. So let's go back to the console and see if it works. We press play and we have 9 in the console. Let's try again. Probably we will get some other number. Now it's 8 and so on. Of course it can repeat itself because it's random number, but usually we might get a different number. So this is how we get an integer random number from the range from 1 to 10. Now I will show you how to get some float number. So let's go below and let's create another variable which will be of type float, and let's call it rand float, for example, equals, and we repeat the process, so it will be random from Unity Engine. Now we'll use range, and now we specify the minimum and maximum value, but this time of type float. So let's say we want to generate numbers from 1 to 1.5. So we will type 1.0f because it's a float, and now we will type 1.5f as well. And now, because those are float numbers, if we open up our overloads menu, we can see that the maximum value is inclusive. And by the way, if you want to see those overloads menu, you can go inside the function that you are interested in. You have to go inside the parentheses, the cursor needs to be here, and now you can use Shift, Ctrl and Spacebar, and this menu will be open so you can see what kind of arguments you need to type in. Once it's done, we can debug it as well and see in the console what's the result. Of course, this is not crucial, so you have to assign those values to the variable. And we could do something like that and it will work exactly the same, but sometimes it's better to write a little bit more lines of code when it comes to the clarity. If this is easier for you to read, then definitely you should write it this way. And now we've got the number 4, which was the integer number, and here we've got 1.07 blah blah blah. It's because the floating number has some precision in every programming language, and in this case that's why it is showing so many places after the dot, but I will explain floats number in more details at some point in the future. In both cases we use random range, and inside the parentheses we provide arguments of type integer or floats.